Hey beautiful souls, welcome back to TayMysticalMermaidLight. Today we're going to be talking about grief. Yeah, grief can be quite heavy. Not everyone wants to hear about it, not everybody wants to talk about it, but I do feel that it's a very important discussion to be had. A lot of people often ignore topics about death and loss. But grief isn't always just about death, I think grief is more about loss or an end of a cycle, because some people grieve others that are still alive. Some people grieve situations. So we're going to talk about grief, but I am going to focus this I'm going to focus more on people, situations where people have lost others that they love, because as most of you know, I lost my mom in 2018, and my mother and I were like this. I was her twin. We never parted from each other. Never. We did everything together. So she wasn't just my mom. She was my best friend. She was like my everything, my world. And my mother had an 18-year battle with breast cancer. And, it spread over the years, and it just really went downhill. Sorry, guys. I knew this was going to be a hard one, but it's hard. The only reason why I'm talking about this is because I feel that it needs to be discussed. I feel that we need to keep an open table, I don't know why I got an open table, but we need to have like an open platform where people can talk about grief, where people can talk about what they're going through. It's heavy, and some people go through it alone. So I received a lot of, I want to mention that I received a lot of DMs from people sharing with me their losses, people who were close to them, parents, family members, spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, even pets that have passed away. And it's hard. It initially was really hard for me to even read, because it triggered my own grief, and I didn't know how to help anyone, because I just felt like, how could I help you when I'm hurting myself? There isn't a solution or a cure for grief. It really isn't. It's almost like, when we injure ourselves, when we fall, right? What happens when a child falls outside? They cry, they run to the nearest adult, and the adult tries to calm them. Usually you'll hear someone say, oh, let me kiss your boo-boo, or whatever. Come here, bring it to me. We got to clean it. You clean it, and usually you either let it air for a sec so that, it can heal, or you'll put a Band-Aid over it, and then you take it off so that it can, receive air so that it can heal. It heals over time, right? It might create a scar, but it heals over time. They usually say in time, right? And grief, a lot of times when people have lost someone, they'll say, oh, it'll get better. It'll get better. And then you'll have some people say, oh, you'll get over it. That's not true. There's no such thing as getting over grief. But I do feel that it'll get better. And what that means is your skin, back to that metaphor I use, your skin starts to heal. It starts to heal itself over time, over days, right? But with grief, it's over a course of years. Over time, that wound starts to slowly, heal itself, but it's never the same. That scar is still very much there. And it'll be on you for the rest of your life, because there's no replacement for the people who are in your life. No matter what role or position they played in your life, there's no replacement. You can't replace a person, and you're not going to get that person back. The one thing to keep in mind is that souls never die. Souls never die. I want you guys to remember that. They're very much still alive. They very much can hear you. They are just not on the same dimension. They're not here in this playing field anymore, because they've done their job. They've done their part, and they've moved on. And sometimes it's hard to process that, especially when it's a child, if someone's lost their child, if their child was young, you know, if someone's lost a child, they think, well, what did my child do to deserve this? What, you know, why did this happen? You know, what did they do? It's not about what they did. It's not about what they deserved. I believe we all have a soul contract. We come here to fulfill certain missions, whether that's just to impact someone else's life or whether that's to impact, you know, many of people. I often, when I think about children, because for me, that's the hardest thing for me to try to comprehend. Why do children die from cancer? And especially young children. I remember my cousin, I have a younger cousin, she had cancer, and she beat it. So that's beautiful. Send her love and much respect to her. But I remember when she was a little girl, when she had cancer, I remember we went to St. Jude's. And that one's hard. Oh, damn. Sorry, guys. Going there and seeing all those kids with cancer, seeing her battle that, you know, we were all young. It's something that doesn't leave your head. And I always said to myself that when I got older, I wanted to do something for people who battle cancer, especially children. Because I remember my cousin battling that. And I remember my mom, I was my mom's caretaker. I was my mother's only child. So I remember a lot of things weigh on me when it comes to cancer. And it's a trigger for me. But seeing those children, innocent, I mean babies. I remember seeing this child, this parent was holding their child. It was a baby, and the baby had like lines up and down its skull, its head. And I just thought, what in the world did this child deserve to go through this? It made me angry. It made me fearful because I was a kid at that time. You know, I think I was about like maybe 11, 12, maybe 13. And to see that, you question life. You start to question life. Even at that young age, you start questioning, like, why does this happen to certain people? Children don't deserve that, especially a baby that young. I mean, it's barely, lived. So why does this occur? And it clicked to me that maybe that child's mission was to simply be there for the parents. Maybe that whole experience is a lesson for the parents. Maybe it's a lesson for others, the doctors, the parents, the whomever. Maybe it's to teach them something, But like I said, we're all souls in human bodies having this human experience. And it's hard to understand sometimes. We feel that, our parents, our children, our friends, our family members, we own them. We feel that, they're mine. This is my brother, or this is my sister, this is my mom, this is my dad, this is my grandma, my grandpa, my cousin, my best friend, my dog, my cat, whomever. You feel like it's mine. But the truth is, you do not own anyone. You don't own anyone. We don't own anyone. And we're not guaranteed later on today or tomorrow or next month. So I often tell people, and I have to remind myself because I overthink. I'm an overthinker. I'm always thinking. I get paranoid. I'm like, oh shoot, what if this happens? Like, because I'm trying to think ahead, and I have to remind myself that the present moment is all that I truly have. It's all that truly matters, because we're not guaranteed tomorrow. You could be stressing out about something that's going to take place in 2 months, and you may not even make it to 2 months. And that's not to scare people, but that's something to keep in mind, that we have to live in the present moment. You have to live in the here and now. Only here and now, not in the past and not in the future. Just here, because here creates the future. So for me, it was trying to process, why is it that these things happen? And remembering that we're all souls in this human body having this human experience. And our souls, they're beyond death, because they know that our higher self, our soul knows that we never die. It's just that we leave this physical vessel, this body. And for those who are left behind, it's hard to comprehend that. It's hard. You know, I often tell people, for me, what I've learned, death isn't hard. It's not death that you should be afraid of. It's not death, it's life. It's living, especially if you've lost someone or something. It's just, the living is hard because now it's a new normal for you, where you have to learn that, okay, this person isn't here anymore. This person isn't going to call me. This person isn't going to text me. Or your fur baby isn't going to run up to you and you're not gonna be able to pet your fur baby. It's hard. It's hard to comprehend that. It's hard for the human. I'm hearing the human emotions to comprehend that what was is no longer, especially if it's something that's been in your life since forever. It's hard to understand. You know, it's hard for your brain to catch up with this new normal. And when I dealt with grief, my perfect example of dealing with grief, and I forgot to mention this to you guys, my childhood dog, Harley passed away in August, and my mom passed away in October, same year. And that was wild. Harley prepped me for my mother's passing. It was hard. I wouldn't let go of her. Like, it was really hard to let go of Harley. And then it was same thing with my mom. It was really hard for me to let go of my mom. I actually ended up in the hospital the same time as my mother and came out just in time, and that was it. And I watched my mother die. I watched her battle and struggle with breast cancer for 18 years. I remember living in that fear if she was going to survive. I had visions of my mom passing away. Well, dreams of my mom passing away. I knew she was going to pass away. I knew Harley was going to pass away too. And I told my mother, I said, Mom, I remember telling her, I said, I had a dream that you and Harley were going to pass away. And she was shocked. My dad was shocked too. And Harley went, then Mom went. And my mom was not a quitter. Not one bit. She was a fighter. She was a Leo. I think that's how and why she made it so long, because she, in her mind, your mind is so powerful, you guys. Her mind was, there's no other option. I'm fighting this, and I'm gonna beat it, and I'm gonna be here for my child, and I'm gonna make it. She was a nurse. She was just very, she worked while receiving chemo, you guys. My mother even won an award for nursing while receiving. My mother was something else. And to see the strongest person that you know, the person you love the most, the person that you would die for, go through something like that, losing nails, losing, skin peeling off, hair falling out, skin color changing because of chemo. It's hard. Losing her sense of feeling. My mother had neuropathy from chemo. She couldn't walk at one point. We were driving and she lost her ability to drive. While she was driving, I had just donated blood at the children's hospital, and we were driving back and she couldn't feel the brake. And thank God I had some driving lessons. She pulled over and I took over the steering wheel. And mind you, I had driving lessons. I wasn't driving though. So she was really scared, but we made it home safely. And that was hard, seeing my mom go through that, from all of a sudden be able to do everything on her own, very independent, very prideful, doing everything on her own, single mother, could hold it down and help others, to see that person all of a sudden not be able to walk, not be able to take care of herself. That's hard. And it was hard for her to ask for help. My mom slowly began to walk again after physical therapy, even with neuropathy, and then the cancer just hit. It attacked her. And then I was so upset. I said, God, why did you allow her to walk if you were going to take her anyway? Why did you do that? Why did you, I was just angry. And I still am angry. I'm not going to lie. Grief is hard. I have my moments where I'm more understanding of it. Then I have my days where I'm like, well, this fucking world, and it's some days I don't want to be here. And, I've dealt with depression and I mean severe depression and OCD over the years, and I was very suicidal when my mother passed away. I had it planned out, and she saved me. She told me, she spoke to me and told me that, you know, this is not what she had wanted for me. She didn't want me to be stressed out, and she didn't want me to leave. Like, she fought hard so that I could be here. And I was her miracle child. So I didn't realize that my reason for being here was for her, because she wanted a child, and also to take care of her. And she was here to take care of me. We were here for each other. And I think my mom, I don't know why I'm telling you guys all this about my mom, but at the same time my mom was dealing with cancer, her sister was diagnosed with dementia, and we took care of my aunt. My mom was battling cancer and took care of her sister. It was hard. If any of you know what it's like to take care of someone with dementia, to see someone go through that, which is a totally different type of grief. I mean, dementia is, see, all of this was supposed to come up. Dementia is a totally different type of grief because the person is here, but they're slowly, it's like they ran out of memory. It's when your phone or your computer runs out of memory, and it's nothing you can do. It's just all that's stored on your phone is all that exists. It can no longer take on anything else. So all you keep receiving is the same photos, the same videos, the same thing, right? There's nothing new that can be added on. That's kind of like how dementia is, you know, from what I saw with my aunt. My aunt told me, she said, she was also a nurse. She told me, she said, I did not want this. Why did God put me through this? She said, I took care of patients with dementia. And it was so hard. And then she told me, she said, I remember we were watching Ellen. She was laughing, and it was almost like she was herself. It was daytime, because a lot of you, if you know, a lot of dementia patients will deal with sundowners, or is it sometime or sundowners? I'm sorry, it's been a bit. And what it is at night they start getting restless, and that's when you see the change. They start moving around and picking stuff up and trying to do different things. My aunt had told me while we were sitting there, she said, sweetheart, she said, when I get like that, and she mentioned the phrase, she said, when I get like that, remind me who I am. Remind me of who I am. And that broke my heart, because that was my aunt. That was her in her right mind telling me to remind her who she was when she forgot. And it's you guys, it's different. That's a totally different type of grief. It really is. She was in and out. She's here one moment in her right mind, and then spaced out. And trying to get my aunt to not get riled up at night was hard. She would try to leave the house. She would try to, unlock the door. She was doing, because they're not in the right mind, she's thinking, I gotta go home. Like, why am I here? Like, what's going on? And we have to remind her, no, you're here. And to see my mom's heart break over it. And my mom's already battling chemo and cancer, and the chemo gets really rough on your body where you need to rest. It was a lot. It was absolutely wild to see. It was hard. It was hard. And my aunt was old enough to be my mother's mother. So my mom, she really, it was too much. It was too much. Both they were just dealing with a lot, and it's sad. And my aunt is still very much alive. She's in a facility or a home. I'm not quite sure. That's a long story. But she's safe, and her children watch over her now. But it was a lot, you guys. It was. Grief is hard, and I don't know which one's worse. I don't know. Cancer and dementia are horrible. Some people can survive cancer, but dementia, there's no coming back from that. So I send my condolences to anyone who's dealt with cancer, anyone who's battled cancer, anyone who's lost someone from cancer, anyone who's, you know, had a family member who battled dementia or Alzheimer's. I send my condolences. But let's get back on track with this grief discussion, why I came here to speak about this in the first place. Grief will transform you. And it will transform you spiritually if you allow it. Grief, it's not just a ending or a death for the person who's actually left or transitioned. It's also for you. It's for the people who knew that person. Because, like I said, it's the new normal. You know, you have to now have a new normal for yourself. You now have to realize, you have to somehow comprehend and ground your energy to understand that, okay, that was then and this is now. I forgot what book that's from, but it's basically that. That was then, this is now. And it doesn't, that's not disrespect being thrown to the past. It's just that the past has already happened. And now you're here, you have a life. If you want to show honor and respect to whomever it is that left your life, you have to live. You've got to try to live. You have to live the best life you can live in honor of whomever's passed away. I know it's hard. I know it's hard, you guys. Sometimes I still wake up and think, why? You know, but we have to, anyone who's dealing with grief, we have to redirect our energy. It has to be more on the, okay, that's happened, now what? And know that that soul is still very much alive and wants you to level up, wants you to transform, so that when it's your time to transcend, that you can say, you know what, I did my job here on earth, on school, you know, school earth or earth school. I did what I was supposed to do here. You know, I made an impact on the world in a positive way. It was hard, but I kept going. And that'll be your honor and your respect to whomever has transitioned. So it's hard, you guys. It's easier said than done. And it's not a one-time healing thing. It's not like, okay, I'm going to therapy. I'm, on antidepressants, or I'm going to go to this shamanic retreat and have this, what is that? Ashwagandha trip, whatever. What is the mushrooms that people are taking now? To go on these hallucinations, these trips. It's not like, okay, I'm going to do this for 3 months and everything is going to be fine and well and dandy in my life. That's not how it works. It's a constant reminder. Here's a perfect example. 2018 was the roughest year of my life. I was suicidal. I was depressed. My life then was a lot like the upside down. Whenever I speak to people about grief, I always end up using Stranger Things references, because in my life, the closest thing that I could correlate it to was the upside down in Stranger Things. And for those of you who have watched the show Stranger Things, the upside down was the same world, but dark. It was like everything was happening, like the same place, same trees, but it was the upside down, which was like a mirrored version of it, but really dark. You guys know that spiritual symbol where it's the tree and then the same tree mirrored upside down? One of my cards have that. It's like that, but it's the upside down. So it's dark, it's gloomy, there's no light, it's quiet, it's foggy. That's the way I felt. And that's the way I still feel sometimes. Like from 2018 to 2019, it was really dark. There's a lot that I don't even remember, you guys. And that's the scary part about grief. When people are grieving, they are vulnerable, very vulnerable. Sometimes they're not completely in their right mind. They're not thinking clearly, because they're just kind of in shock. I went into shock when my mother passed away. Sometimes people are angry. There's different stages and levels to grief. And then, it just depends on what all that person is going through outside of grief. For example, sometimes with grief comes a lot of chaos. And what I mean by that, you have a funeral to plan. whatever assets that person has, that needs to be, you know, discussed or handled. And that can take a long time. That can take years to handle. And then you have people. You have family members and friends, and not all of them are the prettiest when grief hits. I learned that myself. I'm not going to go into full discussion, but I had, you know, a family member that really showed a lot of issues, that had mom and I on edge when my mother was in the hospital. I've forgiven that person, but they still did what they did, and it's something that you can forgive, but you won't forget. And so you have people coming after you for whatever this person may have had, you know, because they want to know, is something belong, you know, were they given anything? You have all types of people wanting things from you, wanting to take advantage of you while you're grieving. And I went through all of that. And you have some people that'll come and help you, and they'll be there for you. And then you have some people that'll come and help you and then want something from you in return. So I always tell people, when you're grieving, make sure that you have a truly trustworthy group of people around you, because you'll see some people, you know, come in and try to do shady things. And so if you know someone who's grieving, be there for them. You know, take them out, try to get them out of the house, try to get them to go to places that feel serene and calming. Try to inspire them, get them to laugh, uplift their energy, you know, spend time with them, you know, go be with them, go cheer them up. Make sure that there's no one around them that's using them or trying to get something from them, even if it's a family member, because most of the times it's family members or close friends. So if you can be there for someone during their hardest time. Bring them some food. I was not eating, you guys. I did not eat. I was so tiny. Because I stayed in the hospital with my mom. So I was just like running back and forth, trying to handle things with paperwork, trying to help and be there with my mom. I dropped one of my classes. I remember the whole situation from there, but it was after my mom passed that a lot of stuff was just foggy. Some things are still foggy in the hospital. People told me things that I was doing and trying to handle. And I was like, man, I don't even remember half of that, because my focus was on her. I remember glimpses of my mom. I remember her, but I don't remember everybody else. That's how the mind works. It can be very powerful. I remember her, but I remember the deceitfulness that was brought in, but other stuff I don't really, remember all the time. Like, I remember bits and pieces. And after the funeral, like I spoke at my mother's funeral. I didn't even realize that I had been speaking for I think they said a long time. I think I spoke for an hour, and they were like, okay, we gotta wrap this up. Like, she's talking, but someone else was supposed to speak, but I ended up speaking the whole thing. It was my mother. I know her the best, right? So I don't even remember what I said. I was gone. Something took over me, and I had the strength to speak, to say what I need to say. I got up there and it spoke from the heart and let people know what we were going through. But it's hard. It's hard trying to figure out the funeral, what this person would have wanted if they didn't, set things in stone with how they wanted things done. Regret towards what happened. That's another level of grief, regret. It's a lot that people deal with grief. There's stages, there's levels to it, and it continues on. You'll be in traffic, you'll be laughing, having a good time, and then all of a sudden in traffic, you may see a mother with her little girl, and all of a sudden you're like, oh God. You start crying, you're driving and you're crying like, oh my God, I miss my mom, There's that sentimental attachment to possessions, clothing, jewelry, cars. I still have my mom's car. That's my car now. Everything, clothing. That is all hard to deal with, For me, I still have, I've gone through so much of my mother's belongings, but that is hard. To me, that's one of the hardest things, going through clothing and deciding what I want to give away, what I want to keep. That is really a hard thing to go through. And pictures, or how about this one? I had to turn my mother's phone off, and I wish I hadn't. Like, that's one regret. I wish I had just kept her number and got rid of my number, because that's a part of grief. That's sentimental. But because people were sending her messages, and apparently some new person got my mom's number, you know, and they were being an asshole to people who were still texting my mom's phone, thinking that, you know, that I still had it, or I don't know, some people who didn't know my mom had passed, you know what I mean? So it was a lot. And I even dealt with like one of my mother's, I think it was a classmate of hers. I can't remember. Yeah. No, it was two people. So two people, my mom had, they had to do, I forgot what it's called. They had to revive my mother back, because she was going, and I spoke to someone, they told someone, and then someone else was there, happened to be there while it happened, and they went and told people that my mom had died, and my mom hadn't died. My mom didn't pass away until like later on in the day, but the word gets out, people start gossiping, people start talking, and that's something that's very hurtful. So like I said, when people are grieving, keep it kind of close and keep it quiet. When people are dying or anything's happening like that, when people are in that position of transitioning, keep it kind of, you know, quiet and protected. You know, protect those. Don't have a bunch of people come in. And if you are someone who's going to visit someone who's in the hospital, don't bring someone with you. Don't bring a bunch of people with you. There was a friend of the family who brought his girlfriend, brought somebody with them. And I was like, I don't even know these people. like, why did you bring, and you brought them into the room when my mom is going? Like, come on, common sense. And so there are certain things where you just think like, man, like it's wild, but you don't have time to address it. You're focused on what's happening. So I think I'm supposed to tell you guys this so that, one, you can be of help of people who are grieving. 2, it'll prepare you. 3, it'll let you know that there are people who are also going through similar things that you're going through. You are not alone. And there's a spiritual side of all of this that's occurring. And my main point, I think they really want me to give you the backdrop of why I'm coming on here to tell you this, because I I don't know how many subscribers I have right now. I think I have like 870 or 880. I gotta look. I know there's a lot of people who are new that don't know me, and I wanted to let you know this is why I'm talking about this, because I've personally gone through it and still am going through it. So if you can be of help to others, do that. If you can keep this in mind when it comes to, you know, your life, keep that in mind, you know. But remember that grief is, it's like a catalyst. It's something that happens. It happens to propel you into a newer version of yourself. Everyone transforms from grief. Even if you are still here on earth, everyone transforms. And it's rough. You're going to automatically go into this dark, kind of gloomy energy, but you can come out of it. There's definitely a light. You just have to keep pushing. You have to keep fighting. You have to keep moving forward. You have to believe, and you're going to become, if you allow it, you're going to become more spiritual. And what I mean by that, and I hate saying spiritual because we're spirits, but spiritual, for the lack of a better word or term, you're going to become more connected to your true life purpose. You're going to be more connected to what is real and what isn't. I was extremely mad at God, okay? But in the same time, I was more connected than I've ever been. And that was strange for me, because I'm like, well, how all the mediumship abilities, all the psychic abilities got even more, and it was more intensified, especially when I was finally able to ground myself and really comprehend and feel what I was feeling. It became more intense. You start seeing signs within everything. You start realizing that, whoa, souls, they're trying to communicate. They've never died. You know, they just left this physical realm. And you start processing that there's so much more to this thing called life or existence, right? Like there's so much more, and it's beyond religion. It's beyond, you know, what we originally thought it was, that these spirits, these souls use all types of signs, even animals, you know, numbers, songs, movies, to get your attention. They'll come through to you in your dreams to connect with you. Some people have actually had visions of past on loved ones while they're, wide awake. I have, but of course I kind of have those, psychic mediumship abilities, which I'm pretty sure I've always had, which is probably why I was afraid to sleep in my room alone, why I was afraid of the dark. There's so much that I kind of remember sensing and feeling and seeing, but you just don't mention it. I was brought up Christian, so some things you just don't mention. But it's weird, as an adult, I started questioning, like, okay, I question all religions. I had already been questioning religion, but it just pushed me even more into who I was supposed to become, because I think my angels, and I know my mom and my ancestors and spirit guides knew that this girl don't want to be here. We got to do something to celebrate. We have to do something to remind her why she's here, because she doesn't want to be here. And sometimes we have this longing for another place. And sometimes we make homes out of other people, especially mothers, right? Because we come from our mothers, right? We lived in them. And so we think that's our home, right? That's my home. That's mine. That's my mom. And the truth is, even though you came from her, you don't own her. And she is a very big part of your, they're showing me like the umbilical cord. They're showing me like a spiritual cord. She's very much a part of you, but you don't own her. And she will not always be here, So spiritually, she's always going to be here, but physically, no. And that's for all of us. It's for all of us. So what I've learned from this is that how to better prepare my children when I decide to have kids, if I'm blessed to have children, how to better prepare them for death and life. We often talk to children about life, and we don't want to scare them with death, but there has to be a better way of speaking to children about that yin and yang, because life would be, one side and death is the other side. And those are consistent, those are two things that are always going to be here. So to teach children in a healthy in a healthy way, in a safe way, about transitioning, what happens when they lose their pet, what happens when so-and-so passes away, granny or grandpa. We have to prepare them in a way that is suitable for them to understand, but not too harsh. You get what I'm saying? It has to be in the right way. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately, because the truth is, this needs to be discussed, needs to be talked about, and it needs to be spoken about without people getting all weird about it. Like, you should be able to sit down with a cup of coffee and be like, okay, so let's talk about grief. But I'm a Scorpio, so that's kind of goes right along with my, my zodiac sign. But it's like, no, we need to speak about this. We need to talk about what happens, the process of it, how you're going to feel after it. And let me remind you, there's different stages of grief, but everyone handles it differently. And everyone has their own relationship with a parent or family member or friend or a spouse or, whomever. So people handle it in different ways. People aren't going to handle it the same way as the other. You may have two siblings who lost a parent, and they may handle it in a totally different manner. So that's something to also keep in mind, but it's very spiritual. And what I mean by that is, if you allow it, it will transform you. Allow it to transform you in a better, in a more positive way. What can you do to raise awareness? What can you do to help others? What can you do to honor that person's legacy? The reason why they were here in the first place, they've never left you. And that's what you really need to know. They've never left you. They will never leave you. And they're just looking at you thinking, okay, do your thing, live your life, because, you have a lesson here. You're at school right now. And when school's up, when the bell rings, then it's your time. But don't try to speed life up. Life does not stop for anyone. That's one of the hardest lessons you're going to learn. This world is going to keep on moving. Everyone's going to keep on doing their thing. Not everyone is sentimental. Not everyone is compassionate to others. That's why I wore my empathy shirt today. to remind others to have compassion for others. You never know what people are going through. You know, it could be the most mean person at the grocery store, and you just feel like, you know what, I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. And it may click to you, wow, this person maybe they have a child who's battling cancer, or maybe they've just lost someone and they're angry and they're trying to figure out how to handle their emotions. After grief, you start processing a lot of things. You start thinking about a lot of people. You start thinking about a lot of things. The hardest thing with grief is the holidays. As you can imagine, it's hard. It's hard. Sometimes you don't want to talk to people. Sometimes when people grieve, you don't feel like, you know, they don't feel like speaking to others. They don't feel like communicating much. They may not feel like going out. Some may, I would say definitely invite them out. Try to get them, you know, to come out, but don't push them if they don't want to. Just check on them, you know, make sure that they're good. You know, get them something nice. Get them something, you know, heartwarming. You know, talk about the person that they lost. This is crazy how some people don't want to mention the name of the person who's passed away. And it's like, no, mention the person's name. It's always good to mention that person, because it's not about tiptoeing around the situation. The person transitioned and their soul is still very much alive. Mention them. Honor them. You honor them by sharing their story, sharing what they went through. And if anyone has an issue with that, then that's their issue, you know? So it's always good to check on people. Even if they don't remember it, they may recall it later on. They may go through and see a text. Always check on people who are grieving. Always. Send them love. Send them something funny. Send them flowers. You know, just reach out. Reach out. Even if you don't receive a response back, reach out. So there's that. Birthdays can be hard for people. The person that transitioned, their birthday could be hard. If it's someone's parent or their child, that person's birthday, the one who's still, you know, in this earth, their birthday could be hard because that person's not there. There's so many days that could trigger people. Mother's Day, Father's Day, you know, all these different situations. It could be certain events or certain places. My mom's job triggers me. It still does. I don't like going up there. So it just, certain things trigger people. And if you can be with them, if you can show support, you know, for them, if they have to go somewhere or on that day, do so, you know. One thing, let's talk about what's helped me. Some simple things that's helped me with grief. Simple things, because it might throw you. But what helped me with grief, this one's going to sound strange, is aromatherapy. Believe it or not, aromatherapy truly helped me with grief. I remember my play cousin brought me, you guys are going to laugh. She brought me this stress relief. It's from Bed Bath & Beyond. The stress relief candle, it's green and black, I believe. It has like this mint. I have to look up what's in it. That sucker, I didn't think a candle could heal someone until I got that candle. That's what made me a candle hoe. I call myself a candle. That candle started it all. It was my first, and I just went crazy. No, that candle, I don't know, something about that, the scent, it really uplifted the energy of my home, because I wasn't leaving the house. I wasn't doing anything. And my dogs, because I have 3 dogs, and their mother was Harley, my childhood dog. And they deal with grief too. Dogs and cats deal with grief as well, and you see it. And we were all just here grieving and sad, and it was just a shame. They lost their mom, I lost my mom, you know. So we're all, you know, just sitting here. And I lit that candle, and I don't know what it was, but it just made me feel a little bit more at home. It made me feel, even though I was at home, I just felt cold. You know, it just felt like I said, the upside down. And I started taking better care of myself. I started, you know, taking, you know, showering and taking baths, because, you know, with depression, you don't always do that. I started paying attention to the fact that I hadn't ate. You know, sometimes I was going days and I was like, oh, did I eat? You know, like, you know. So, you know, eat something. Oh, that's another thing. You can bring people food. Bring them food. Try to bring them something, you know, healthy or tasting. Something that would try to, you know, get their appetite going. Sit there and talk to them. Buy them something like candles, something soothing. book them a spa day. That nobody did that. I need to have a talk with my family. Because that would have really helped in a way. I created that experience for myself at home when I started really coming to, like getting my surround, bearing, what did they say? Let me get my bearings. So when I started really grounding my energy, I started spending a lot of times in the bathtub, a lot of time just like washing, and in a way, I didn't realize it then that it was very spiritual. I was cleansing that energy. I was trying to ground myself, and with me being a water sign, I ground myself a lot in water, and I was getting visions. It was a lot. I do a lot of work in water, but anyways, that helped me. Aromatherapy products, essential oils, which I had already been working with stress, but even more so, I started working more with aromatherapy in my home, in my space. Crystals. I know that sounds strange, and some people are gonna be like, oh, here she goes with the new age stuff. Is it new age if it's been around since forever? By the way, stones and crystals are mentioned in the Bible, but it comes from earth, and it actually really helped ground me. I had crystals around me a lot in my home. Believe it or not, my attention started going more towards things that made me feel good. So flowers started making me feel good. I started buying myself flowers. I started, like I said, crystals, candles, rest. I started watching funny movies, funny shows. It was really hard to watch certain shows because my mom and I we love TV and film and music, and it was hard to hear certain things. Like, I still can't watch football. I know it's crazy, but my mom loved football. She was a huge Cowboys fan, and I have not watched football since 2018. I know it's hard. And we even went and saw the Cowboys play. So it's a lot. It took me the longest to watch Stranger Things. My mom and I had watched Stranger Things. Those are like some of the last shows we watched together. So some things like that. Oh, The Young and the Restless and Bold and Beautiful. That's hard for me to watch. I can't watch those because we used to do that together. So certain things, and we used to watch that in the chemo room. I had a hard time watching Ellen because Mom and I used to watch Ellen in the chemo room. So there's certain things that trigger you. You start, okay, I realize that's a trigger for me. And then you slowly start to come to it, and you may be able to watch it, but it still may trigger you. So take your time with that. That's a process. But really, watching funny movies really helped me. And I was watching Netflix, and what got me was like every damn thing I would try to put on, someone had lost their mom, and it started triggering me. I was like, oh, great. Tried to watch these two little love movies. What was that? A Letter to Those That I Loved, or something like that, to the boys that I loved. She didn't have a mom. I was like, oh, great. She doesn't have a mom. And I'm crying. I'm like, oh, So different stuff like that, or when someone make a joke, or when someone would say something about cancer, it triggered me. I'd be like, oh, that's not funny, or why did they use that when they, So different things trigger people. So it takes time. It takes time. I can watch things now and kind of just sit there and be like, okay. But here's a perfect example. Today I was getting mail. And only had one thing in the mail. I'm thinking that, okay, where's the rest of my mail? I have one thing in the mail, and it was from the American Cancer Society. And it said, Vanessa, it's a good time to get tested and screened for cancer. And I was like, it triggered me. I was like, and it got me. And I was like, okay, Taylor, breathe. And what's interesting is, it took up until 2018 for me to figure out that my mom had been donating money to St. Jude's and American Cancer Society. She had been donating money this whole time through her own battle. And so they send her things because she had been I didn't know she had been donating money. So, and donating money to the church we went to. So you find out a lot. You find out a lot about people. You already know their heart, but when they pass, you realize the love, how much you love them. And I was watching this interview. Who was that? I was watching someone. I'm going to put in quotations. I don't remember who said this. But that sadness, that grief is just all the love that went unexpressed. All the love that remained. All the love that was still there. So that's what grief is. It's all the love that's still there. All the love you have to give. So it's okay to cry. It's totally fine to cry. In fact, you should cry. because at some point it's going to erupt, and it may erupt in traffic or erupt in a grocery store, and that's fine too. But allow yourself time to cry, because that's you showing respect and honor towards that person. Even if it's 10 years later, cry when you need to cry. Hell, scream when you need to scream. If you need to go to a kickboxing class and start punching and kicking, do that. If you need to go for a run, do that. If you need to go for a swim, do what you have to do. In fact, a lot of people end up turning to, physical fitness to help them heal from grief. And I totally understand that on different levels. You know, they say working out helps with, what is it, endorphins or something like that, to help you with, mental health. It releases, I forgot. Don't quote me on this. You know what I mean. It helps you to feel more happier when you work out. It helps with depression. Well, with grief, what I realize is that it can bring up emotions. So it's a good thing. It helps to clear you when you're working out, when you're moving your body, because a lot of times, okay, I received this channel message earlier. They said that grief can affect your nervous system. That's what I channeled earlier. And now they're bringing that to my attention. But what I was going to say is, a lot of times, a lot of the stress that we have, a lot of the depression, the grief, the anger, trauma that we have, it's all stored and gets all stuck in our body, in our energetic field, our aura field, right? Especially if you have like openings or blockages, it all gets trapped there. And that's why I hear a lot of people saying, oh, you need to, do a cord cutting, or you need to do, a yoni cleanse, or you need to do a womb healing. That's why you hear a lot about these things, because a lot of times we store all of these emotions and all these traumas and different things that have happened, because grief is trauma. We store all of this in our body. So a lot of times we're tense, or we'll have back pain, or we'll have, different issues with our body, or even internally. Like I ended up having fibroids after my mom had passed, and we thought that it was something else. If you can imagine having a lump in your breast, where my mind was going, where my doctor's mind was going. And that was scary all on its own. But when you go through trauma, you start having different things occur with, your body. And so I realized that I was doing a lot of dancing. My best friend, I love my best friend. My best friend is truly my angel. He told me, he was like, look, let's do dance. I'm taking an African dance class. So I decided to do an African dance class with my best friend. I was already going to do dance, but my brain wasn't there. And I remember doing that, and that's why I survived 2019. It was because of that. My best friend telling me, hey, let's go do this. And I got in a car accident the same year. It was crazy, like in my mom's car. So you can imagine how that affected me. A lot happened, but I kept going. And it clicked to me. I said, it's this dance class. And I even had moments where after class, I was crying. And it was different. It was just purge. It was like purging. Sorry, I just sprayed. It's like I was purging emotions. It was almost like when you sweat, it was like I was just crying. It was like, whew, it needed to come out. It was finally coming out. And it still happened. Like I took a modern dance class, and I was going through stress, a lot of stress, and a different level of grief, like another stage of grief had hit me. And it was just a different energy, because it was a different professor, and it was just a different class. And my best friend, he was in the class, but it was different. It was online. So I was just going through it a lot, and it was a different type of movement, and it took a lot of discipline, and it took a lot of understanding of your body. And I was hard on myself. I learned a lot about that, but I realized I have tension in my body still. Like this form of dance, I have tension. Once again, after that dance class, I would end up crying on the floor in my living room after that dance class, because it just brought up a lot of emotion. And I realized, I said, wow, like I'm being hard on myself. Like it even brought up more things that I was dealing with when it came to my body, how I viewed myself with, how I have body dysmorphia. So it brought up a lot of stuff. I was like, man, dance is spiritual. Dance will help you to channel. Okay, dance will help you to purge and clear energies. Okay, it's not just sage, because a lot of people talk about sage. That's all people know. Let me sage. It's beyond that. Sage doesn't clear everything, you guys. We're going to talk about that in another video if you want to hear it. It was deeper. It was helping me purge. It was helping me cleanse. It was helping me to channel, and it was also a form of honoring my ancestors. In it's like a form of devotion. It's the intention you put behind it. So once again, dance, running, swimming, some type of physical activity. If you can do that, if you can try to get someone who's grieving to do that with you, switch it up, or do something that they like to do that, because it's going to help. It's really going to help. And if you can stick with it, stick with it. Meditation. It's a tough one because not everybody can sit there and do meditation. Not everybody can sit there quietly. But I was trying to get back into meditation. It took me forever. But guided meditation started helping me. Finding the right guided meditations can help you guys, especially if it's from someone who has like a positive, like uplifting energy. I would highly suggest you guys to find someone who has an uplifting personality or energy if you want to listen to a guided meditation. I think her name is Megan Lee Joy. She's a good one. If you can find her, look her up. I don't know her personally, but she has an uplifting spirit. And I think if you guys could listen to someone kind of with that kind of, someone kind of like that and more uplifting, positive energy when it comes to guided meditations, that's always nice. A lot of times caregivers, which I was, people who deal with grief, and especially caregivers, they have a hard time sleeping. They cannot sleep because they're so used to handling things and taking care of others. So a lot of times I would be up all night. So this is where, if you know someone who's grieving, who especially was a caregiver, I would suggest you guys to send them some guided meditations, or send them make them a calm, soothing playlist that they can play, or I know a lot of people don't make mixed CDs or anything like that anymore, but send them a playlist that they can listen to for free and relax. If anything, come in and if you're close to them and be like, look, I brought you some orchids, or I brought you some flowers. And I'm not talking, okay, so lilies are nice, right? But peace lilies are usually often given in mourning. So I would suggest sunflowers or something vibrant, or like orchids, because they're resilient and strong. Something that's more vibrant in color. Bring that into their space. Orchids live a long time, you guys, so don't be afraid to spend a little money on an orchid, because they can survive. Love them. But candles, help them, maybe buy them a nice little pillow or blanket, something that's more cozy, because what it is when you're grieving, you're wanting warmth, you're needing that warmth, you're needing like a hug, like basically an energetic hug. So anything that can be brought to them that brings them warmth or happiness or laughter or comfort, do that, because usually it's the inner child that's really going through it and it needs some loving. Okay, so that person's inner child and their adult body, they're both out right now, because they're handling a lot, they're going through a lot. So if you can kind of remind them to come back down to earth and ground themselves, if you can help them in any way, do that. Okay, make them some tea. So I'm trying to think of some other things that could help. Like I said, physical activities, doing fun things, getting them to shake off that energy, because like I said, we store a lot of trauma and energy in our bodies, and we need to move our bodies. We need to get that off of ourselves. That would be very helpful. For me, learning about Reiki really helped me, because one, it helped me with grieving, but it also helps me with what I do just in general in life, but also in my readings. I know how to cleanse my energy. I know how to recharge. I know how to work on myself when I need healing, or when my pets need a little bit of loving and healing. So I would say Reiki, anything with making them feel calm, soothing, and comfortable and at peace. Breathing, a lot of time in nature is key, you guys. That's for depression, that's for grief, that's for sadness, that's for everybody. Spending time in nature, getting as much sunlight as you can get, very helpful. So like I said, do what you can do to be there for someone who's grieving. And if you are grieving, I hope that this could bring you some type of hope that there is light. There is a rainbow. There is this light. You just have to keep moving forward. You have to keep walking towards the sun. You have to keep walking towards it. It's there. You just have to keep walking towards it. And the most important thing I want you to remember is that you are not alone. Self-care and self-love is what's going to get you through this. And I always ask that if you're grieving, If you're there with someone who is grieving, pray for discernment. Pray for discernment. Try to spend as much time in prayer and meditation. If you can pray for someone, pray for someone. If you can put them on a prayer list, do that. If you can come over and pray for them, hold their hand, do that. If you can hold them, do that. FaceTime them, do all of that. Be all up in their space. Give them some room, but let them know, hey, I'm here. I'm checking on you, you know. Do that. Be that person for them. Everyone deserves that. So once again, I know I'm forgetting something I'm gonna regret coming off of this video, and I'll be like, oh, I forgot to tell them this. Drink lots of water, you guys. Lots of water, lots and lots of water. Drink lots of water, and rest. Rest. When rest is self-care, self-love, discernment. And to know who to have around you and who to not have around you, and who's who and what they're here for and all of that. That's in general. We all need to do that in life. But like I said, people who are grieving are usually more vulnerable. They're going through something. And even beyond that, people who are battling any type of sickness, they're vulnerable. You know, their energy is vulnerable too. So if you can even do this and be there for people who are battling something, whether it be severe depression or be some type of illness, sickness, or disease, help them, you know, be there for them, you know, drive them to their appointment. Don't wait for them to ask. Let them know, hey, do you mind if I come with you to your appointment? You know, don't ask them, hey, can I, you know, don't wait until they ask you. Okay, or don't be like, you know, I'm here if you ever need someone. I mean, you could say that I am here if you ever need someone to drive you. But hey, say, do you mind if I drive you? Because some people are prideful and they're not going to ask. They're not going to ask. So kind of in a healthy kind of, you know, kind of gauge how much how much room you have to do something like that. But if they need someone to come with them to an appointment or to handle something, say, hey, you know, what are you doing? Do you have anything you need to handle? Do you mind if I drive you? Do you mind if I just take you there? Do you want someone to sit with you? I can sit with you. I don't have anything to do and I miss you. You know, so just kind of be there, you know, and then give them space. Because sometimes all you do want is space, you know, when you're grieving. It's like, okay, look, that's cool, you help me and everything, but I need my time. So sometimes it's like that as well, but just let people know. So then they know, oh, you know what? So-and-so did want to take me. You know, let me call them back. And so I would say another thing for people who are grieving, do not give anyone anything. I know that's going to sound random, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Do not give anyone anything. You don't owe anyone anything. Even if they were being kind to you, even if they took you places, even though you do not owe anyone anything for them showing kindness. If they truly love you, that kindness is for free. You do not owe anyone anything. So y'all keep that in mind. Another thing is, I would say when it comes to the cleaning process, like going through someone's stuff or what you want to keep, what you want to give away, I would say if you're going to give away someone's things, give it away to someone who's in need. Okay? Try to find shelters. It's going to make you feel better, and you're doing something in a higher, you know, frequency. You're helping someone else. You know, you're taking that energy and you're transforming that energy into a more positive, lighter energy. And also, I would suggest waiting on going through someone's stuff if you can. And if you are going to go through someone's belongings, make sure you only have trustworthy people that who know you and your whomever it is that passed away. Because what it is that some people, they do want to help, but they don't understand the sentimental value behind things or why things, you know, are the way they are, or why you have certain things, or, you know, so some people don't understand that, and they'll be like, oh, we can give away this, or that you can throw away, and it's like, hold on, no, you can't. Like, I remember so-and-so brought that on this, or they wore this there, so that can affect you, and that might bring up some anger. So don't allow people to come in and boss you around and tell you what to do. If you remember this, you know what I mean? Keep that in mind. Only have a certain, like, I'm hearing just a certain amount of people to go through things with you, okay? Not someone who's going to take something from your home. I had that happen. Came over to help, and then they say, oh, can I take this? So I'm telling you, some people want to help, and then some people come just to see what they can get. So like I said, and you will deal with both people if, you know, if that, sometimes when that situation occurs. I'm sorry. I want you guys to have discernment, okay? Not everybody means harm, but some people, they just don't think, and it can be a little insensitive, all right? So once again, have only trustworthy people go through things with you. When it comes to finances, when it comes to belongings, possessions, when it comes to your emotions, only keep a close-knit circle around you. And don't be afraid to reach out for help. Speak to a therapist. Go get, you know, mental help, you know, because it's a lot. You went through a trauma. And if you're here because someone else is going through it, they're going through a trauma, and it wouldn't hurt to speak to someone. Okay? It wouldn't hurt. Journaling is another thing that can help. Getting them a nice journal to write in, even if it takes them years to write in it. Just get them a journal so that they can, you know, try to express themselves, because grief just needs to be expressed. It needs to be felt. You got to feel it in order to heal it. It needs to come up, okay? So writing, any type of hobby they like, singing, dancing, drawing, painting. Painting can be very, art therapy, color therapy, art therapy, music therapy, all beneficial. All helpful. It's all about transmuting that stagnant, that energy. You got to put it into something. You have to be able to transmute. You have to get it to change into something else. It's about you using this energy, feeling it in order for it to be released. It has to purge. You know, it has to leave your body. It has to leave your energy. And it's not going to leave forever because it's grief, right? But you're still purging. It's going to come up and you're going to purge it. And when you purging this, is going to help you, okay? So it may not feel like it when you're crying all night, but you're feeling, you know, that's you showing that love that never got to be expressed, okay? So use that and put it into some type of art or something that you love doing, okay? Or learn something new. That could even be something that might be beneficial. Learning something new, like sculpting, whatever it is, you know, gardening, whatever it is. I'm hearing something with working with a lot of flowers could help someone, maybe whoever's watching this. Working with flowers is really going to help you. I'm trying to think of something else, you guys. Centered. It's all about grounding. It really is. Whenever we feel worked up, it all comes back down to grounding our energy, the root chakra. It's all about us getting still and feeling stable and secure. It really affects your root chakra. It affects your heart. It affects your root chakra. You have to ground yourself. You have to be somewhere where you feel safe and secure, or at least give yourself time to do that for yourself. You know, slow down, calm down, breathe, you know, take it easy, do something for you. And that's so important. Always remember to do for you. You can't pour from an empty vessel. So that's what I have for you guys. I hope this was able to help you guys. I hope that whoever watched this, you guys get why I did this video, why I came on here and expressed this. It really comes back down to self-love and self-care and not judging your feelings. Don't judge yourself. Don't judge why you feel a certain type of way. Allow yourself to feel that way, okay? We have to stop judging our emotions and our feelings because we're human. We're souls in a human body. We're supposed to feel them. They're here for a reason, right? So what I'm going to do, that's interesting. I wanted to pull you guys some self-love, self-care cards for whoever watched this video. Because I feel that if you've made it this far, you must be going through something, or you know someone who's going through something, and you're here for a reason. So what I'm going to do, I was going to pull some cards, but I'm going to go and get my sound bowl real quick. And I'm just going to cleanse this energy, okay? So I pray you stay. I'm going to get up. You might see me slide when I come back because I'm in my kitchen chair. But hold on, you guys. Just a second. Remember I said music therapy, sound bowls are extremely healing. I had the pleasure to meet with a very kind woman who also went through her own grief, and God bless her. She helped me choose this beautiful bowl and 2 other bowls. And you guys, I love all my sound bowls, but my alchemy bowls are my favorite. It's just that they're too expensive. I would have a ton of them and I would be doing readings with them, but they're very sacred to me. And sound like secret. I said sacred. They're very sacred to me and I love them dearly. And I use them when I do my Reiki. I use them when I do healing work, not just for myself, but for others as well, and my other crystal bowls. But yeah, so I have this baby here. I'm going to ask that you guys take some time to maybe get up and shake that energy off if you've watched this video, and to just breathe and send your self-love and to send love to anyone who's experiencing grief, or everyone. Just send love to everyone because everyone's going through something, okay? I want you to breathe. We're going to do this for like a count of 5, okay? So I want you to breathe deeply. Release slowly. Okay, so kind of like that, without the little pause I had there. Keep doing that. You know, do it for however long you feel you need to do this. But we're going to play my alchemy baby. I'm going to play it like we're releasing, okay? So we're going to release any stagnant energy. Still going. Now we're going to bring in some love. We're going to bring in some healing. We're going to bring in warmth, love, joy, peace, happiness. It's all about intention, you guys. I want you guys to imagine a white and golden light coming from the sky, going throughout your body, all the way down into the earth. I want you to breathe. Feel the warmth of the light around you and going throughout your body. That's a love hug. A love hug. She's still going, you guys. Okay. Okay, guys, let's get into the reading. I just want to get some self-care, some self-love going through here. If you watched it, this is a little bonus. The little lovin'. It's crazy, while I was playing that, I heard love hug, love hug. It's like an energetic love hug. So let's see what needs to come through for the beautiful souls who watch this. You guys, I am probably going to do a ancestor reading quite soon, and possibly a reading for those, you know, who have, you know, transitioned from our transitioned loved ones as well. Quite soon. It's just that when I do those readings, when I channel, when I receive messages, any mediumship messages, anything like that, if I end up channeling someone or channeling something, you know, a bit emotional, it can be quite draining. So that's actually why I took my mediumship readings off of my listing, because it just became a bit tiring. And readings can already be draining, but when you do mediumship readings, it really can wipe you out. So just to clarify. All right, dear God, Holy Spirit, Jesus Christ, guardian angels, archangels, ancestors, spirit guides, for my highest good only. Please use me as divine channel for the most purest, holy love and light only. Help me to give clear, accurate messages to all who watch this reading. Okay, we're going to... I'm feeling called to do just a general reading, you guys. So we're just going to do a general reading. Holy Spirit, the beautiful souls who watch this, what do they need to know? I just heard journey to love and healing and coming back to your, coming back to your soul, who you are. Karmic path. It's all about learning life's lessons. It truly is. You're divinely protected as you're going through this. In 10, completion. Protection through it all. We have magic. I just heard see the magic of life. And I'm also getting like pay attention to the signs, because you're going to be shocked what comes through. You'll see butterflies. My mom communicates with me using white butterflies. You'll see hummingbirds. My grandpa actually communicates with me with white butterflies as well. It was actually with him where it started first. But butterflies, birds, hummingbirds, it could be anything, cats. Some of you, oh, that's what I forgot. See, I told you guys I was going to forget something. My ancestor altar helped me tremendously. And what I mean by that is I created an altar for my mom. I created an altar for Harley. I created an altar for my grandparents. When I did that, I saw a huge difference. I first started by lighting a white candle, putting their picture there. You can do separate ones for different people, but I did one with my mom, and I lit a white candle, and that one's always like going usually. The white candle, her picture, and I'll buy like her favorite food, or I'll buy things that she likes, her snacks, a favorite drink, and I'll put it on the altar just to show honor, just to show, you know, my appreciation for her. So if you feel called to do that, you guys could do that as well. Okay. Some of you might feel called to work. Yeah, relief. Some of you guys may feel called to work with Archangel Raphael. Archangel Raphael is an amazing archangel for healing. And for those who work in the health profession, a lot of you guys may also feel called to give back in some type of way. Like to act. Yeah, divine masculine, to act on something. So what I mean by that is like maybe helping out within a charity, or giving food. Helping in some type of way, helping others in some type of way. You may feel called to do that. That's another way to channel, like not channel, to help transfer energy in a good way. What I mean by that is like you might take your own grief and sorrow and decide, you know what, I'm going to do something better today. I'm not going to sit here and you know, wallow. I'm going to And it's not bad to do that either, but some people, they need to get out of the house and do something, you know, nice for someone else. You may feel the urge that maybe I should do something like that. This is your sign. No judgment. Don't push yourself. But if you feel called to get out of the house, like, okay, let me do something. Let me help someone. If you feel the call to help someone, this is why. Helping someone who may also be going through something, you know, it may not be the same thing you're going through, but someone who could be, you know, going through something could be helpful, like help someone out. Just help someone out. And look, we have Akashic records. So this is the Akasha. Your guidance is divinely guided. Your guidance is divinely guided. So if you feel guided to do something, go do it. Get grounded. I kept saying that. Get grounded. Spend time in nature. Look, ancestors all around her. She doesn't even realize it. They're in everything. They're in nature. Look at the flowers. I talked about flowers earlier. You guys might also feel called to work with roses, pink roses, red roses, laying it on your heart chakra or bring it into your space, working with rose essential oils, working with the scent of rose helps with the heart chakra, since we're trying to open up the heart chakra. Yeah, working with trees, spending time under trees, ground your energy. Empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature. Let's get another one. We have I think this is Mentaken. Longing for home. I mentioned that earlier. Belonging, the original light workers. So yeah, she's longing for something or someone that she misses, right? She's longing for this home. But it's all around her. She doesn't even realize it. She just can't see it. We had the pillar of light. Remember I had you guys envision that light going throughout your body? It's kind of like this, right? Pillar of light. And it says your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. You'll realize this. The more you start relieving yourself of this tension and blockages through exercise, through grounding your energy and meditation and prayer release, this is how you're going to raise your frequency. This is how you come back home to self. So it's all about your inner temple, grounding your inner temple. Your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. And they just gave me a download that sometimes that's why a lot of people like get colds and like when their immune system gets kind of low and weak, is because they're either stressed out, they're doing too much, they're not resting, they're not grounding their energy, they're not taking good care of their well-being, they're not eating or drinking water. And a lot of times we go through that, right? We're like, okay, I'm moving, and then you get like a cold and you're like, oh man, I gotta slow down, you know. And it's just a reminder that we have to take care of our bodies, right? Because our body it's our like I said, it's our temple, but it's under our supervision, okay? We're the soul in the human body, and this is our tool. This is our vehicle to navigate through this earth, okay? So it's all about taking care of your vessel, taking care of your physical body, so that, I don't know why I just heard, so your light body can be heard. Wow. Taking care of your physical body so that your light body can be heard, and your light body will be your soul. So that's interesting, but your vibration is rising. Remember to rest so that you can take care of your immune system. Make sure you're up in your vitamins, your supplements, especially if you're grieving or you're, someone who's grieving. Remind them to, be there. Give them a nice smoothie. Let's get some healthy stuff going for ourselves. That's what I heard. So, taking better care of your well-being. What's at the bottom? Where are you being called to journey to? See, where are you being called to go? What are you being called to do? It's about action. Yeah, with the divine masculine, it's something about action. Let's see what crystals would help these beautiful souls, Holy Spirit. Can we get one at a time, please? I feel water-based stones would help you guys. Make sure you're listening to high vibrational frequency music, you guys. I would say aquamarine. I keep hearing selenite, maybe selenite as well. Angelite is what I'm hearing. I don't know why I just heard that, but let's get back to the water-based stones. I would say aquamarine, Larimar. I'm getting those two more than anything. Maybe aquatine. There's a blue one that people keep for rest. It's a light blue. Oh my God, I'm forgetting the name of it, you guys, but it's this light blue stone, and it's really good. I'm channeling that for you guys, but I can't get the name. Rose quartz, of course, jade, emeralds, ruby. Those would be great for you guys. But since people are usually vulnerable when they're dealing with grief or going through something like that, or helping someone who's grieving, you guys need selenite would be good. Black tourmaline, any of the black stones, black tourmaline, black onyx, black obsidian for protection. Shiva lingam. Wow, go all in on your essence. Wow, it says Shiva lingam, also known as, okay, I do not know how to pronounce this, Benalingas or phallus-shaped stones, found in the bed of the Narmada River in India. In Hinduism, they can represent an embodiment of the god Shiva, destroyer of illusion and transformer. Who needs it? Yoga people, people who hate yoga. Where to put it? Wherever you seek enlightenment. On the meditation cushion, concentrating on your breath, possibly chanting. When to use it? When your ego has you feeling too small or totally supersized. When it seems like you're sucking life force through a swizzle stick instead of a boba straw. When you've got baby making on your mind. Okay, so go all in on your essence. So this is like to get that fire going, to get that passion going. Okay, so let me give you the name of it. It's to get that fire going. That's why that's there. And oh, another thing, you guys might feel called to work with bright colors. Okay, a lot of bright colors. I think I mentioned that before. Work with bright colors always. When you're feeling down, when it's cold, work with bright colors. Colors that remind you of the sun. We have Dambarite. Yes. Help you connect with angels as well. Turn on your electric light, okay? So it says, like the bait of lockers in grandma's medicine cabinet, Dambarite's twinkling, effervescent energy takes the edge off with its serious feel-good vibes. Who needs it? Emos, goths, button-up, white-collared stress cases. Where to put it? Wherever you want to do some elevated thinking, feeling, dreaming, being. When to use it? When the daily grind has ground you into the pavement. When you feel like launching into space but lack astronaut training, vibing with Dambarite can help divert your busy mind away from its pesky physics-ruled orientation. There's somewhere else out there. Okay, flip on the high beams and explore. That's the same thing as where you being called to journey to in the Pillar of Light. So they want you guys to work with Dambarite. Sometimes it can look white to light pink. Okay, you guys, so Dambarite, I actually been called to work with this one recently, so I was so happy that it came out for you guys. Let's get two more. Oh, the way those two of them popped out like that, I hope you guys saw that. And look, we have orange calcite. See the orange, those bright colors. Oh my. You guys have honey calcite and rhodonite. Beautiful. Honey calcite. See the colors? You guys need to work with colors like these. Get bold, work with those bright colors. What it is, a honey-hued mineral on a mission to turn the bewildered and bubbling into super driven worker bees. Who needs it? Anyone with a job to do, the brilliant but lazy, any Taurus. Where to put it? Instead of banging your forehead repeatedly on your desk, try a gentle kiss of honey calcite there instead. When to use it? When the barriers to abundance feel too big or to power through. When it's time to stop waiting your turn and start waiting until tomorrow. Picture yourself triumphant on the other side of whatever stands in your way and call on honey calcite to kick in the door. Break through your limits. It's about you breaking through barriers, breaking through obstacles, right? It's making me think of Ganesha, but for some reason it's also making me think of Archangel Michael. So honey calcite, working with that. You do have protection here. And look, they're the same color, you guys. So that's a sign too. Let's see, we have rhodonite. Love rhodonite, okay? So go with your heart. What it is, with the palette of deep pink and black, rhodonite gets its name from a Greek word for rosy. Who needs it? Potential wasters, those deeply sighing, I hate my job types, Sagittarians. Where to put it? Against your open heart, begging the universe to tell you what you should be doing with your life. When to use it? When that cubicle life has got you down, when it's time to drop the people-pleasing facade and start doing something that really lights you up. When you're ready to use your real unique powers to actually make this rapidly spinning planet a more beautiful place, go with your heart. These cards are crazy. Okay, but I think they were needed to bring a little bit more lighthearted energy into this reading. Now I know why my angels had me pull them. Let me read to you at the bottom of the deck. We have the orange calcite, another orange stone, Oh, is that amethyst? You guys might feel called to work with amethyst as well. So orange calcite is the hot-blooded, artistic, love on the brain, wild child of the calcite family. So you guys have a lot of calcite. Who needs it? Artists holding the proverbial paintbrush and staring at the proverbial blank canvas. Anyone whose sex life needs a little more fun. Anyone whose sex life leads a little bit more life. Where to put it? The honeymoon suit and the studio. When to use it? When you want to make something beautiful. Orange calcite's energy is all about breaking through the fog and the fear that hang on the path to creation. When you want to add some energy to your creative process or take on the Kama Sutra one page at a time. Get with orange calcite sun kiss vibes. Unlock your creativity. So it's like a lot of heat, a lot of passion, right? That's needed sometimes to bring life back to a situation. So bring more energy back to yourself, right? More vibrancy. Let's see what else you guys need to know. Holy Spirit. Dream, build castles in the sky. Make sure you guys have a dream journal. Like I said, pay attention to your dreams. You never know who could visit you. You never know what you could see. And also go after your dreams. With all these orange stones in the Divine Masculine card, go after your dreams. Create. We have a lot about creating. This is what's going to help to heal your heart. This is what's going to help heal you and move you forward, is creation. So nurture your creative energy. What else do we have? Energy. Yeah, this is what's going to intensify. This is what's going to put energy back into you. We have intensity, passion, and power. This is what's going to bring you your power back. In fact, I want you guys to say this prayer. I want you guys to pray to whomever you believe in. Call on Archangel Michael as well. And I want you to say, I call back all my power from all places, timelines, time frames, people, situations, and things that no longer serve me. I take back all my power from all past lives, all lifetimes, all dimensions, all places, all things, all situations that no longer serve me. I take back my power. I'm hearing confirm it, like set that intention. I'm taking back my power. I take back my power, especially if you feel drained, if you feel like you're depressed or just really low or sad or really just down. Take back your power. Work with these colors of orange, yellow, pinks. Work with those colors, purples. Rest and create. Rest and create. Nurture yourself. Nurture yourself like a child. And gratitude. Being grateful for that person being there in your life in the first place. The fact that you were able to have them in your life. That person or that pet, right? That experience that you experienced them. You experienced that love. It will never leave you. So be grateful for it, you know? In fact, write down all the things that you're grateful for that, you know, in life. And maybe even write down what you're grateful for, what they taught you or what you liked about them, you know? So they're saying come back to the present moment and appreciate your present blessings, what you have now. Gratitude. Appreciate present blessings. And I feel that you guys are going to be blessed. Look how the sun is resting and the rainbow is here and the water is falling. All symbolic. The emotions, the sun coming out after a rainy day, right? Trust. Faith in the power of the universe. So it may be hard. You may not understand why things happen the way they happen. But we have these prayer hands, right? And we have trust. Trust in the power of the universe. Trust that things happen for a reason, that everything has its purpose and everything has its time. Okay? I'm hearing they have never left you and they will never leave you. Keep that in mind. You are never alone. You're never alone. So they're wanting you to create trust in the universe. Be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for your health, your well-being. Be grateful for being here right now to watch this video. Work with creative, you know, energy. Work with transmuting these energies that you have, these feelings, emotions. Put them into something. Even if it's a sad piece of poetry, write the poetry. You know, it could end up being a song. It could end up selling. Someone else could resonate with you. Just use this energy and put it into something, okay? I love you guys. I hope this was able to help you. I hope that this was helpful in any way to someone. And like I said, I love you guys so much. And I'm sending love to anyone who's going through something that is tough or just hard or heavy. know that you're going to be okay, and know that you are not alone, and take time for yourself, okay? Take some time for yourself and nurture yourself however long you need to nurture yourself, okay? I love you, and there are a lot of people that care about you. There are a lot of people that love you, all right? The divine is always with you. God bless.